6 feet away.
Yeah.
I know. Airways. Air hug. Yep. Here. I've been doing those before this thing. I know. Now, you're fine.
All right, let's call the meeting to order at 4 o'clock. And Mr. Superintendent, would you like to take a roll call?
I would love to take a roll call. President Robert Bernowski,
Present.
Clerk Jan Grist,
Present.
Member Carla Torres de Luna,
Here.
Member Elizabeth Martinez,
Present.
Member Stephen King, present. All present.
Very good. Elizabeth, would you like to lead us in the flag salute?
Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as stated.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Madam Clerk, are there any public comments?
Zero.
No, Madam Clerk.
Very good. All right, so the first item is 6A, and matters related to the coronavirus, COVID-19. The board shall deliberate on whether to extend the school closure beyond March 20th. Is there a recommendation?
There's a summary page on page 4 of the package. And as it's a discussion item, there is no recommendation. It's just a summary.
No, it's an action item.
6A is the discussion, 6B is action.
Oh, got it, okay. So you're up.
Members of the board, as you know, on March 4th, the Governor of California proclaimed a state of emergency to exist in the state of California due to the threat of COVID-19. San Benito County Office of Education and all districts in the county took action to cancel classes for students for the week of March 16th through March 20th, which is the week we're currently in. The board shall deliberate on whether to extend the school closure beyond March 20th, 2020. Since the vote was taken and the decision was made to cancel classes for this week, matters and concerns have only greatly accelerated. We all found out just a few hours ago that the San Benito County Public Health Department and the County of San Benito have issued a shelter in place for our community. So the concern for public health continues to grow. And at this time, I think it's incumbent on us to just discuss our reasons to remain closed and to discuss next steps that we would want to take, including essential staff and non-essential staff, and including our responsibility to continue feeding children and to continue giving children educational materials.
Is this the appropriate time? Are we within what was specified in the agenda to talk about like services for special ed?
Absolutely.
Okay. It's well known that I have a grandson has special needs, and he is he's emerging in speech. He normally receives an hour a week, and I'm wondering, and I know he's not the only one, and kids with OT needs. But now with this shelter in place, I guess that can't even happen either.
The shelter in place has been a real game changer for us.
But that's not a medical thing, huh?
It's not that academic.
I have a question about the, so, you know, looking at in a week or so, is there an idea besides the packets to do any kind of virtual learning kind of things, even with like verbal, not just for the special ed, but I'm thinking for our ELD and for those that are learning Spanish to practice, is there, assuming that's it.
Definitely, so what the school district has been focused on for the last 5 days is to create all of the systems that would allow us to produce this work. As of right now, every school office has all of the student packets ready to go. So tomorrow morning at 10, when families drive up to pick up their food, they can grab their curriculum and go. And
Is that for just 1 week or?
that's for 1 week.
Okay.
But principals are already creating week 2 and week 3 and week 4, which is really great because what it's gonna allow us to do once we've completed that is move into the online portion of the plan.
But what would we do for, isn't a great deal of our population, they don't have internet access or they may not have a computer? So what I'm worried about is creating haves and have-nots.
Right.
Because, sure, my children all had computers, whatever, but
Right with you.
those that did not. So that's my problem.
Sure. The reason to focus on these packets to begin with was to establish equity.
Yeah.
And I think we have an obligation to be effective in the way that we share resources in the community. So we won't necessarily buy a new curriculum or spend money on something that only certain children can access. But we're educators, so we know all of the websites that are appropriate for grade level activities relative to TK or kinder or 8th grade, and we'll share those using Facebook, using the district website, and using our means of communicating through email. But we're still aware that some families will have limited access to those online resources. The difference is we're making families aware that they exist as opposed to we're actually physically creating the packets and getting them into all children's hands.
Can we also maybe, the idea of the packets in the stores is a great idea, but can we also maybe have a sign, English and Spanish, that says, there's these websites, a lot of people have phones, maybe not computers, but a lot of people have phones that you could at least click in English and Spanish links. If we can maybe print out, the most easiest to use, and with your haves and have-nots, I think that's unfortunately always the case. I think we're already seeing that with those kids that have their parents at home. Not all the kids have their parents not all the kids' parents know how to access. Not all the kids' parents know, how to teach or what to do. So we can at least just give the resource.
The other thing I talked to the admin team about this afternoon is I said, okay, we haven't really given ourselves even 5 minutes to get off task from accomplishing what we accomplished, which is we fed 1,000 children today. We went to every school and retrieved all of the medications that the over 250 children in the district that bring medications to school. We went and retrieved them, organized them, contacted parents, and set up a time for parents to come and pick up their medications. We've sent out over 500 messages to parents of children with special needs for a variety of reasons having to do with testing and timelines and APs. And then we created these 5,000 work packets. So we've been totally focused. Oh, and by the way, we've also commenced deep cleaning our schools, and that's making a lot of progress on that. But what we're now able to do, now that we've accomplished setting the systems in place to get those packets created and to get that equity established, what I told the senior leadership team is that we're going to unlock the creativity and the joy of being a teacher among all of our educators. So the remainder of this week and this weekend, I'll be posting videos that are educational in nature that we put on Facebook and that we put on the district's website. And it'll be things that kind of speak to who I am as a teacher. And my senior management team will start to reach out to other teachers, and we'll create a Google Classroom so that teachers who are at home, who want to take, for example, we have PE teachers who are amazing PE teachers, and have them take videos of themselves doing tutorials for children that takes them through the activities that are in our
That's nice.
packets and other things that are not in our packets. So our art teacher will be able to do a mini lesson
Nice.
that we post to the districts. So teachers will submit into our Google Classroom, and then we'll set up a schedule of when these things will be posted on Facebook and on our district webpage, so that families on a daily basis can go in and check. I know this is coming up, I know I can access this video, and all it will take is a phone, a tablet, or a computer.
I saw when I was subbing for a sped class over at Rancho, the teacher there had these cute videos. They lasted for like 5 to 6 minutes. They were like dance exercise videos. And the kids would get up, you know, and she'd play it like, she'd do one like every 45 minutes to an hour just to get them up and moving around and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I thought they
Yeah, a
were
lot of
very
kids.
effective, and you know, if they could somehow download those and watch those, it'd be nice.
Our goal is to be the source of something positive and something joyful in the lives of our children in a very uncertain and scary time for a lot of people. So where they're feeling stress and feeling isolation and feeling anxiety, we want to be a reason to see something positive, to see one of their teachers, to see their principal,
Yeah.
opening up that joy of learning, because if this continues on, and it may continue on beyond even our proposed resolution tonight, it is possible that children won't see their teachers for multiple months at a time. And if that happens, that's unprecedented in the history of our educational system at this time of year.
Well, a really quick good thing is one of my daughter's teachers are still doing good things. She's the older one, so they're able to do on this whatever
Google Classroom.
thing that they're doing, probably Google Classroom. And what my oldest said is, the teacher said, I miss you. And I go, oh, how'd that make you feel? And she's like, good, because I didn't think she missed us. Because we're so, and I'm like, and that was a good thing.
So during this period of time, so you said the principals are preparing for week 2, 3, and 4. So give us the landscape. Where are the teachers, you know, during all this, and what are they doing during this time?
Teachers have been very busy. So what we did was we chose to assign a school principal to a grade level. So every principal is responsible for kinder, a different principal is responsible for first, a different principal.
I saw that, yeah.
Across the,
Then we assign every teacher according to their grade level.
That's good.
For each grade level, we determine the subjects, English, or for younger grades, reading, writing, math, PE, and art. Then we created spreadsheets so that teachers could select. I teach kinder, but I really want to put in activities for art. Well, I really want to do the reading activities. I really want to do the math activities. And then we opened up the classroom and said, everything is reviewed. Keep everything positive. Keep everything building on itself. So start with some of the earlier in the school year activities.
And then everybody can see what's going on.
And everyone can always see what's going on. So the principal's job is to coach the teachers, send them emails that say, thank you so much, I appreciate everything you're doing. I love seeing what you guys are putting in there. Give little tips, little notes, nudges here and there. And then the principal decides what goes in the packet. And we told them per week, a maximum of 50 pages. So that when we photocopy them, it's 25 pages front and back. Once that's finished, those packets are sent to the district. We've created a web page on our district a website that has all of these packets that will go live tomorrow at 10. And then we started the big system of reproducing all these packets. And
What are the assistant principals doing?
they're with their principals. They're at the schools every day with their principals. Deciding what fits, putting it together, putting it in order, organizing it.
Have you been getting a lot of calls from parents or emails? And what are the most common, I know, that's it. What are the
Capital
most common?
YES, it's a little bit of everything. It's, I would say about 85% positive. You know, just thank you so much for sending out that email, thank you so much for canceling school. And then 15% of, we need to cancel school further, we need to push this out 3 months, you know. Did you see the most recent news coverage? Did you hear about the shelter in place? So certain things have kind of been almost like sparks. The shelter in place notification yesterday that went out on Facebook sent us about 50 emails within a couple hours. Just what's going on, and not just from parents, but also from staff, saying, should I go home? Why are we here? So what we did in response is we have sort of established a command location in my office where the senior team meets every morning. We go out to sites and talk to principals from 8 to 9. We compile questions. We come back to the command room. We create an FAQ, and then we send the answers to principals and teachers. So everyone knows what the other people are asking about and what people are thinking about. Everyone has the answers at the same time. One message. Pushed out at the same time. Then we go to our work, all this busyness, because in addition to this, we have been canceling trainings, canceling hotel rooms, all of the regular business-oriented things that go along with our departments. Our business office has been processing payroll, our HR department has been canceling interviews, canceling job fairs. We interviewed people this week. We did interview people this week.
Oh, for the principal.
For the principal, for speech pathologists, for special ed teachers, because we still have to
Yeah.
go out and find the best people to work with our district, so we continued that. And then we meet again for lunch, the senior managers, we go through updates on everything, and then we meet at the end of the day. That system has allowed us to all remain interconnected and support.
Yeah, because communication is the key.
It's the biggest thing.
It's the biggest key.
So, who is involved with distributing food?
We have an amazing student nutrition program.
Yeah, and
Anne and her team are doing everything. We show up to basically be cheerleaders for them and to thank them. They do everything themselves. And they were already preparing a week before this happened. So we have 65,000 meals ready to go.
Wow. That's prepared.
there was one, that Santana Rats, I grew. I get a little snarky. There was a couple comments like, why isn't it being corrected?
What?
That we're not correcting the work. That, yeah.
It isn't being corrected because
You don't have to tell me why, but I'm surprised you
Preaching
haven't.
to the choir, honey.
I'm surprised you haven't gotten a phone call. And I did not even engage because it wasn't, I just don't engage in that kind of stuff. But, that there were a couple of snarky, I know, they're a group, I tell you, we're gonna have our hands full. But yeah, how did that name corrected? And I'm like, in that group, they're the overachievers. Everybody has a college degree and blah, 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 blah. They have no clue about the rest of our community, and they really don't care. And have no idea what we have to deal with. But, yeah.
I had a question. I don't want to change the subject, but you said the cleanup process is going well. How long is that going to take? I want to make sure that every single school is when we ever do come back, Is,
We will.
that's all taken care of, how far along are we there?
So let's start with Gallup Hills HCLA because the board is aware, we
Mhm.
put out a press release.
And we were able to get enough hazmats and all that stuff for them, they're safe.
So we haven't had any employees on that campus.
Okay.
None of our staff is cleaning Gallup Hills HCLA. We're bringing in a veteran serve pro to come in and do the.
Excellent.
Mhm.
Good,
We don't wanna send our staff into somewhere without the appropriate protective gear and create the impression that we're not taking it seriously.
Right,
So that is set, that's happening.
that was a good thing to do for morale too. You know, think about that.
that is
It was a
excellent.
right call.
Mhm.
And so we just had an update from Aaron Bezetta and Calaveras is 90% done. And the reason is that the two custodians who were the night custodians at Galvin Hills have been assigned to help Calaveras, so they're finishing early. They're done as of today. Those four, the two Calaveras and the two Galvin Hills are now being assigned to Arlo Hardin and Lad Lane because they're further behind. So every school is somewhere between 40% and 70% done.
Okay.
Good.
And as we finish a school, we're reassigning staff to go and help, so we can
That
get
makes
people
sense.
back home as soon as possible.
Yeah.
We'll bring them all back every Thursday to do another round of disinfection without, not quite the same level, but to do another spray down of every surface.
So the spraying, if we can keep actually the locations, we can track, what spaces are being used, so that way they go back just into those spaces to clean specifically, and they're not wasting time.
That's right.
Um,
We know it's the main office,
Right.
it's the restrooms, it's the kitchen facilities, and then it's the egress and ingress.
just so that, so we know if they're into any other locations that the principals are logging, okay, if they're, any staff are going into any specific areas, that we at least track it, and that way they know when they come in, these are the areas we have to hit.
Are they gonna do some of the stuff, once we get through the cleaning? Do you see that where, some of the janitors can do some of the maintenance stuff that each school site needs? I mean, or, like, do deep cleaning and then weeding? I don't know, well, they got job descriptions, so they have to,
They have
Be
to stick
careful.
within their job scope, they
Right.
cannot work
Right.
outside of their job scope. That's just
But like
how
the
it
lawns
is.
and stuff, I
well,
mean,
no, they can't do that, but they can do windows and they can.
there's some people that do that, right?
Yeah, but not janitors, I'm talking about the
No.
janitors. Things that the janitors could do to,
But we also want them home if they're the only parent that can be home.
oh, I see, then they go
So
home.
that's why he's saying,
Oh,
yes, from their perspective as far as CSEA, we want to
okay, I
try
didn't know
to,
that,
if
that's
they're
why I'm
not
trying to ask what's going.
needed, if there is no
Is that what's
reason
gonna
for them
happen
to be
then?
here and all the work is done, we should allow them to be able to be with their families if they can be.
Is that what was negotiated, or?
What we discussed with CSEA and agreed upon is that the district is always gonna reserve the right to determine what is essential and what is not essential.
Mhm.
At this point in time, what we've decided is once the campuses are clean and disinfected, everyone's going home. When they come back, it'll be for abbreviated time periods and will limit their interaction with others. So let's take for example, we're gonna do packets next week.
Mhm.
We're doing it in a way where we're having little to no interaction between the principal and assistant principal at Sunnyslope and the district office staff. When we work and make photocopies here at the district office, I've assigned specific offices. You're to use the photocopiers in the workroom, you're to use the superintendent's photocopier, you're to use the business copier. I've staggered times, so staff members are here either on morning shifts or afternoon shifts, so it's 4 hours instead of 8 hours. Because what's gonna happen is this shelter in place will really limit people's ability to get to a grocery store.
Yeah.
To get
Right.
to actually physically go in and buy the things that they need in a grocery store. To make a doctor's appointment, to get to see a doctor. Right now, we still have only one confirmed case in the county, but that could change.
It might have changed
Two now.
today.
They just announced another one.
Just
Yeah,
right now.
I think,
It
I know
was
where
an
that
hour
was,
ago.
that was over on Olga, the guys were there with the hazmat, they were bringing this guy out. Yeah, I'm
Where
pretty
was
sure
this?
that, it was off on Olga over here where I live.
So,
On the copy machines, is
So
there
the
somebody
goal is
wiping it
to-
down?
every morning and every afternoon. And so the goal will be to just limit any kind of social interaction. And I think it's also just the right thing to do for their families and for morale, to say, hey, we're done here, go for the day. We do have a lot of employees who have said, call me, I wanna come in every day, I wanna do something to help every day, but we just have really wonderful people that work for us.
I know.
That's awesome.
They wanna be here, some of them are kinda mad that we've sent them. I could be doing a lot of
Yeah, well,
that.
we have to be safe.
Yeah, we have to keep them safe, so, and
Well,
then of
I
course,
just don't think the United States, there are some that just don't have a clue what's coming.
Yeah, well, it's, only the hard-hit states right now are the ones that are really,
there's no
We are.
explanation on it.
really struggling, and
Just
the
when-
president is doing what he can at this point. I mean, he had a new news conference again, this morning.
Well, this
trying to-
afternoon, they're
putting
putting in
out-
$1 trillion into the
Yeah.
economy.
Well, it was gonna
hasn't
go
been
into
approved
Congress, so it's gotta go to Congress for approval.
It's gonna fly. It's
But,
gonna fly right through.
but yeah, the states right now that are
Mitch McConnell, I watched his
the ones that
interview.
need the
What are the
additional
ones?
support.
I have a question about, so was it yesterday, the county meeting?
Yes.
Is there anything in place, or can we put anything in place if any of our staff kind of, feel symptoms, or that we can get them immediately tested or somehow get a priority because the testing, from what I hear, is very difficult to get?
That, they did not, I was there.
I know.
Yeah, they did not really solve that.
That's a concern.
It's still up in the air.
Well, you can't force anyone to go underneath a medical procedure, but you can
That's not what I
ban
said.
them from working.
That's not what I said.
She wants to know if they're available.
I want
Oh.
tests. If
Priority
I'm a
testing.
staff
Priority
person
or staff.
and I've been
And
exposed.
I'm handing
Yes.
out these,
And they have a test, I wanna get priority, that's what I'm trying, not me, but the staff person.
the people are handing out the lunches, the people at packets
Yes.
that are with the community out there.
Yes, can they get, like if
Like,
they
do we have, are they like gloved up and,
they're wearing gloves, but they're not wearing masks.
Yeah, they're not.
so can those people get prioritized? Cause they're the ones that are
There's
on the
no- I
line.
mean, where are you gonna find them right now?
I mean, I know it's not your, but
I can have that conversation with public health. What I think we're also,
Cause I know I know I mentioned it, just letting them know, hey, I work in a school district, it did not matter.
didn't matter,
You're not 65
and older.
Wait, my understanding is, so let's say I'm getting tested, somebody in a full hazmat
Yes,
they go and do the test, which is sticking a swab through
All the
your
way-
nose to your back of your throat,
Yeah.
out. Then they have to completely
just
throw
roll
away
over
that entire
and
hazmat
right.
suit.
put a new one
So,
every single time.
yeah, as of yesterday, only 35 people in the county have been tested. Because it's such a huge, undertaking.
And getting that equipment is not easy right now. It's in great demand.
basically 2 to 3 tests per day total, is what it amounts to. The confirmed case was tested back on March 2nd, second, third. And I think we are struggling with misinformation because I think
It doesn't come back right away?
it's impossible to know what public health or doctors have actually told people versus what people are telling other people that
Yeah.
doctors told them.
Right.
Because there is a lot of that going around, emails and calls saying, I'm 99% sure I have it. And the doctor told me such and such, so then we kind of spend a few hours chasing that down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think
that
there's
was
a lot.
one of the reasons why, according to the health department, there was a delay at Avalon Hills. The guy showed symptoms. The first thing they did was testing for the regular flu. They waited, again, this is their statement, they waited for that result to come back. he didn't have the flu. Then they gave him this test. And then they had to wait for, by the time they claimed that they notified us that Friday afternoon that we ended up closing schools down. Now, why it took that long, that was their statement. I don't know it should have taken that long, but.
One other thing, I don't know if our families understand, and as it gets on longer and longer and longer, and we're all parents, and houseotosis and craziness is gonna begin, and they're gonna wanna play with their friends. And parents are gonna have to hold the line. Just, you know, like, oh, kid, Jenny, come over and play in the backyard, and can we put some kind of notification in, like, twice a week, either in the meals or in the packet that, you know, if we're gonna slow this virus down in Hollister, we can't let our kids out to
We
play.
can use the public health, they just put out a frequently asked question thing, and I think that's in there.
Yeah, but we need to do that, and they, you know, sometimes we just need to, everybody needs to see it, a reminder, and on a different colored piece of paper, and in Spanish and English. I would really like
Well,
to
the
see
city,
that.
the city needs to be
Well,
proactive and putting stuff out.
I understand that, but
you know,
see,
because-
when, come on, Mom, let me go. And then the mom has this brightly colored paper going, no.
Yeah.
We gotta help the parents out
Hopefully
here.
she wouldn't need that paper.
Come on,
No,
you
should
know?
mean no, I'm sorry.
Wow.
Here, I've got a legal document that says you can't.
Look at this, look at this. We gotta give the moms some help here, come on.
What are the financial ramifications of all this? Because the one thing that comes to mind is, it seems to be like all the costs of copying this and that, and providing these meals, there's a good chance we could get reimbursed for that. So,
There are a lot of financial implications. Administrative staff works at our request, so you know, all the hours we put in, that's why we sign up and get paid to be administrators. But we had a lot of staff here on Saturday and Sunday that need to be paid for the additional hours that they worked. The cost of making the photocopies and ordering the thousands of dollars of ink and toner
Paper.
and staples and tape and boxes, it's all expensive. But there are a lot of other expenses that go along with it. We have, for instance, after-school programs that we operate. We have staff members who work in those after-school programs, and they are time-sheeted employees, but we need to pay them even though we're not working. But we're dependent on getting reimbursements for that through federal programs by serving children. So the uncertainty is we have to do right by our employees. Otherwise, we'll lose them. They won't have any faith in us, and they won't want to come back to work for us next year. But at the same time, there's no guarantee yet that they're going to give us the funding for that after-school program that pays those employees' salary. So we're trying to kind of sort through and get answers to that. The other major cost that is time-sheeted is special education services. So as you know, we're not providing the special education services children normally get. So you have contractors who normally bill us on a monthly basis for giving speech services.
Oh, yeah.
So we're not giving speech services, so we can't pay for a service they're not giving. They're truly independent contractors, and the contract states it's services rendered. But the very real risk is those people won't want to come back and work with us. So we have to figure out how to apply some pressure to say, don't penalize school districts, because we might be sitting here in 6 months saying we don't have anybody who can give speech service because the contractors that were supposed to work with us have all gone to work for the hospitals or for the social service agencies because we didn't do right by them when coronavirus. So there's a lot. I mean, I could go down the list 15 other examples of things like that that are all unique to this situation. We're hearing a lot from Superintendent Lamonto and from the governor's office about funding really is gonna come in for us, but at the same time, what's the timeline for that is, because we have a budget and you all have a responsibility to adopt and implement a budget, and we usually go through a really long and thorough process and a whole budget development process. We might be working remotely for the next month.
I have another one, our counselors,
Yes.
is there plans for them, because part of all this, it also deals with mental health, is there a plan for them to do some, awesome,
All of our mental health therapists and all of our counselors are identified as essential employees, but they're been allowed to work from home. We've set guidelines for confidentiality to ensure that when they're working with students via the phone and families via the phone, that they maintain confidentiality and observe the privacy, FERPA and HIPAA rights that children have. And that's been happening since Friday.
okay.
So they do the video conferencing.
They're doing case management over the phone,
Mhm.
and they're doing follow-ups for known emergency situations. So they're in contact with the families to make sure that they're connecting with medical providers and things. We thought of everything, folks.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
Well,
When
taking
things like
care
this
of our people should be first and foremost, and I'm glad, you know, we're leading that charge. I would rather lead the charge than be the one, you know, back here doing whatever it is that, oh, well, you know, legal hasn't really given me an answer. You know what's right, and you know, regardless whether legal's giving you an answer or not, let's do right by people, like you said.
So I wanna applaud you, I'm sure we all.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
Job well done, and your staff.
and yes, everyone, just applaud you and everybody,
It's been awesome.
everybody stepped up.
So, before we get to the meat of the meeting, is there any more discussion, just in general, on coronavirus?
I think a couple of things I'd like to say. What I've, been reading about from the state, we get those EdSource stuff and, all that, is I think, the state is gonna keep us as whole as possible. And, it seems like the federal government, they're, listening to Mitch McConnell today, and Rob, he's not one of my favorite people.
I can imagine.
But he was quite, he goes, we, the bill that passed through the House was bipartisan, it was like 360 to 40 or something like that. And he expects his Senate to do the same thing, and then they're gonna do another bill. The urgency of the federal government, this is not a partisan thing. They understand the seriousness of it. And he made a comment, and he's not the first person I've heard this from, but to hear it from him made me feel good, that this was not caused from banks cheating people, and like what happened in 2007.
Right.
This is, we're at war with a little tiny virus. So I feel that that there's gonna be some hits, but I feel that we're gonna be made whole. Will there be some higher taxes down the line? I'm sure we're all gonna somebody's gonna have to pay for this. But I think that they're gonna try to make us as whole as possible. And I just think that we need to look forward that way and positive that way, and just deal with how the hiccups come our way, and just keep moving forward and protecting our kids and our staff.
I think they, in general, in the last one, they were more concerned with businesses,
Right,
big businesses.
right,
Now it's smaller businesses and people, trying to make them whole. I think
50
they
million people are in
understand
the
the
restaurant
difference
business.
this time.
50 million people are in the restaurant
Yeah,
business.
I know.
So.
Did you see that? There was a smart little tweet the other day about using laid off waiters and waitresses to deliver, the restaurant stays open, but they are the ones that deliver the food to the people at their homes. And
Right.
they get their tips that way. I thought that was an interesting little idea.
Well, yeah, I think
I mean,
that,
it's not the same, but I
yeah,
mean,
but if you got shelter in place, that's not gonna happen.
that's true too.
Well, I think we'll probably be made whole on a lot of things, but Diego, Superintendent Ochoa in this room, was explaining to me yesterday that the ramifications of having kids out of school for 3 weeks or 4 weeks, for some of them, it's gonna be a major, it'll have to be a major reset. And I'm just worried that our testing, not just us, but all school districts, the testing is gonna be, I wish they would not do it this year. Just,
I don't think they
They
will.
are
I don't-
considering canceling.
I
Yeah.
think that would be the
Yeah.
best.
I'm sure they.
Because if we don't get back until May, we can't even physically give it to them. There's
Yeah.
not enough time.
And they need to get back to the 3 Rs of, I mean, I'm glad that the packets are mainly starting with review and stuff like
Right,
that.
yeah.
But anyway,
I agree with you, Rob.
it'll be interesting. So. Any other discussion on this?
So
Okay,
now we go to B.
so now we'll go to the action item, 6B. And is there a recommendation? It says the board will consider.
There is, we have a recommended motion that administration recommends that the board adopt emergency resolution number 20-1920, delegating authority to take necessary action to protect students and staff from the spread of coronavirus, parentheses, COVID-19. And the resolution is attached for your review. It starts on page 8, and the resolution is not numbered, but it starts on page 8.
So can you take us through what it means exactly from your point of view, since I think you are you the authority on this?
Yes. So what this means is that it is delegating authority to the superintendent, delegating authority to take action necessary to cancel classes, essentially. What this is about saying all the way through April 12th, 2020 at the earliest, we would cancel classes. So this gives us all of the following week, all of the week after, and all of our pre-planned spring break. That would allow us to return to school on April 13th, Monday, April 13th. I will say that the CDC did put out a recommendation and guidance that groups of 50 not convene for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So I'll request that this board reconvene the first week in April so that we can consider the need to extend as needed.
Yeah.
What this does is it gives the district the authority to be able to identify job classifications as essential and non-essential. And I should share with the board that we did meet with our Classified School Employees Association and signed a side letter to that effect, and so that has already been accomplished and was done 2 days ago. It allows us to modify school and work schedules, so some employees are being assigned work schedules that are not their typical work schedule, so sometimes abbreviated or moved up and down during the day. Another is to declare the emergency so that we may assign district employees in their capacity as disaster service workers, which they all sign an oath to do when they're hired by the district. And then to cancel and modify activities, programs, and courses, including the closure potentially of the district. Specifically to protect district property, so to keep signs up that say facilities closed. If you drive by our campuses, we have large signs that are all over that we put in place.
So,
Candace, it's in
every
the
school.
front.
so
Once
this,
you go down,
You have to enter the parking. but-
no, it's as you drive down Santa Ana, I saw it.
We have, each school has
Walk right by.
2 posters, large visible
Good.
posters.
how connected is this to the county office? Are they on, does Crystal have any
She
control?
posted something
Is
today.
this different, huh?
She posted before our meeting.
Is she posting the same thing as what I'm asking?
The county office and the school districts in San Benito County and the superintendents all had a phone conference this morning at 8 a.m. to discuss this resolution and to discuss the high school's meeting in about 30 minutes to consider their own resolution. And
Is it similar to ours?
it's.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking, because,
Very similar.
you know, they made a big deal yesterday about everybody being on the same page.
Yeah.
I didn't want different districts doing different things.
We're absolutely working together.
Good. Okay.
I have no problem with it.
No, I don't either. I'm gonna bring up and I don't know if I'm off track again, but I'm gonna bring up special ed again. On these missed services, they're gone, or do they have to be made up? And
No, one of the things that we're trying to do is we're trying to get children activities and things to do at home in the meantime, and we've just started. We're 4 days in. Because what we're gonna be responsible for doing when children do return is determining whether or not there was a regression so that we can provide compensatory services. So it is possible from a fiscal aspect that we will have hundreds of children who have dropped in their academics. So we'll have to give more service when they come back, which as you know is gonna be very
Right.
costly. So right now, we're trying everything we can to get curriculum into the hands of children while they're at home.
well, I was speaking more of the speech and OT.
It's the same concept. We're gonna
Okay.
we're just starting, but we're absolutely going to provide families and children with activities that they can do that will facilitate their growth in speech and language. I will say for children who are younger, and you mentioned earlier in this meeting, you have a grandchild who is a kindergarten student. It's difficult to do that with children that age, simply because the therapist is doing so much of the engagement side of it.
One-on-one, yeah.
Whereas a
Yeah.
7, 8, and 9-year-old, it's more activities that they're
Right.
doing, and it's more sort of
Yeah,
prompting.
they're gonna,
Younger kids get it really is, the scale is higher on the adult side.
It is.
we're gonna see tomorrow afternoon, they're gonna do, video conferencing with OT and speech through his private insurance.
Mhm.
So we'll see how that goes.
My grandson's in the same boat.
Is,
That'll be interesting.
my last concern, Hollister Prep is on the R.L. Hardin campus, are they part of this too? They're going to agree to this? I wouldn't want them coming back onto the campus after we cleaned it, you see what I'm saying? How do we,
They're considering a similar extension.
okay, that would be my only concern, to
We
make
don't
sure
govern
that
them.
they're on the same page.
They make their own decisions, but
They have their own governing body.
But I did keep, the CEO, Kevin Sved, was on the phone call and did communicate with me via email this morning indicating that they are extending.
I think they already put that on their website, and they, I think they're further ahead of the curve on e-learning.
Oh, they have more Chromebooks.
Well, they, I don't know about that, but they basically are making sure that every student has internet. My understanding is, I didn't want to say it because I don't know, but what I heard was they're providing internet access to every single student. So, anyway.
Well,
And-
as long as we don't have them coming onto campus when we're not there, that's the only thing I was concerned about. And if that's the case, I'm fine.
So, if we could discuss this,
Mm-hmm.
to do that, I'll entertain a motion that we
Okay.
pass this resolution.
So moved.
Can you name it by name?
That'd be,
Emergency
Aye.
resolution 20-19.
Say it. It's the only thing that you actually have to be specific
Yes,
about.
so I recommend that we pass emergency resolution number 20-19/20.
Second.
Okay, so is there any discussion about it?
Do we have it here that we're gonna meet again if we have to extend it? Is that necessary?
No, that's gonna be our own
Okay.
meeting process, we'll select the date.
Right.
So my one question is, and I was driving when I was looking at this, but let's say that we have an employee who, for whatever reason, we suspect might be a carrier or whatever. Does this give you the ability, or do you have it otherwise to say, Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so, you cannot come back onto this campus without a doctor's note or whatever? Do you?
Yes.
Okay.
We could also report them to the health department, and at that point, the health department would take over.
Well, see, and that was something that I had highly recommended at high school, the same thing, was that, you know, if I came down with it, my first phone call after knowing would be to my employer to let them know. But that has to be communicated to the employees, that be something you do, because otherwise, I mean, regardless whether it's the FERPA, whatever, you know, HIPAA, but we work for a school district. We are public servants, and we do not want to put the public and others, you know, in jeopardy. So I don't see how that would be against the law or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I get very frustrated when I get told, well, you know, we can't do that. You can't call and find out and do a welfare check on people that have been out for 3-4 days, you know, when we were in session, just to check in on it? I mean, for Pete's sake, you know, it's not that hard. If we truly care about one another, we're gonna go to that extreme. That's why I commend you, Diego, for doing what you're doing and leading that charge, because it is important that that's what people see first and foremost and feel. Because when we don't see or feel that, you're right. It has this has already caused a lot of concern and heartache for people that are already stressed. Not finding groceries, not finding the necessities for their families and their babies. No diapers, no wipes, no milk. I mean, I am, you know, for classified who are struggling to make ends meet, not being able to pay rent, not being able to find food. It is extremely difficult right now. So.
Oh, you're classified as, aren't they gonna get paid?
Well, some are being asked to take PN. So, you know, again, let's just move on. But that, yes, I would want for us to do that, you know, so that we can send that message. We want to make sure you're safe. We want to make sure that you're taken care of, you know, but it's just, I don't know how to do that or how to get that message across, but I think it's important that we do.
So when the President of the United States came out with a recommendation that individuals 65 and older not be in the public sphere, within hours we were meeting with all of we had reviewed who was 65 and older, and we sent them home.
Yeah.
So that this, to modify school and work schedules, gives us the authority to do those kinds of actions, to say,
I see.
we did it, and we did it.
I mean,
And we did it.
I know,
I'm
protecting
66
you.
tomorrow.
We gotta protect you guys.
Yes, we do. We do.
Because
And we're not,
again,
I mean, we shouldn't have to wait for legal to say, well, what should I do? Really? Do the right thing.
Yeah.
Well,
That's, with some people that I still say, if we found out about something like that, the first thing you do is talk to them, that you need to go to the health department to be tested. If
We
they
had to
say,
publicly
no,
disclose it, right?
I'm not going to
With that
do
field
that,
trip, with
then-
the one that was,
isn't
had
it
tested
our
positive.
responsibility, if we've told them and they say, no, I'm not gonna do it, to report them to the health department? I think that's perfectly legal. Why is that not legal?
Tricky.
Well, I thought we had
Yeah,
to
well,
tell
let's,
those
let's
that
not go into the.
Yeah.
Right, the
because
whole
we're
legal
talking
part.
about
Right,
the-
right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and does this give you the power to suspend contracts?
We already have that authority.
Okay.
We have that authority. This is more specifically in reference to the.
this coronavirus
Is the
specific.
building of our school continuing during this?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
they're working,
I know, because it's a state building, so. Okay, I just have, I'm trying to fit my next statement into this. And I'll put it out there and you guys can say it's inappropriate. But, during this emergency, because this declares a state of emergency, right? Should we, suspend any action that we're taking with reference to employee evaluations, especially the superintendent? Because in this period, we were going to schedule
I think we could evaluate him based on this. I think this is a great time to evaluate him.
Well, you're, but what we're talking about here is we would
A
have a
formal,
public meeting,
yeah, the formal piece of what we
6-hour
were supposed to be
session,
doing, yes.
You know,
Right.
so on and so forth, with SEPI involved. And then, of course, there's some work that Jan and I will end up
So formalities of postponing it or altogether, I mean, putting it down, is that what you're asking as part of this?
Well, I want to hear what your comments are.
you know, we did a vote to see whether or not we wanted to have a mediator. And now that we're in this crisis, I think we should do it without a mediator. And just do it the way that we should, do it the way we should do it. And then you and I do what we're supposed to do.
What we can talk about in reference to the emergency resolution is that isn't in the emergency resolution.
Okay.
And we can schedule a separate meeting to talk more.
About
about
okay.
We can't, it wasn't agendized, so we
Right.
can't
Oh,
really
okay,
go into a
alright.
lot of detail.
Well, the issue is SEPI technically could not travel
Correct.
Right.
from wherever she comes from,
Right.
Santa Barbara County or Ventura.
I know she flies, so she can't
She
come.
won't
So
wanna do that.
it's too late to
Not
put it on our
nonsense.
other board meeting
I would
too?
because
No.
of them.
Okay, so we can maybe add it to our next.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah,
So
and-
are these things also pieces that we have to have in place for later on funding, you know, cause I know for certain resources and funding that we have whatever we need to resolutions or whatever things that we have as boards,
To illustrate
ensure
that we
that-
took steps.
yes, perfect.
As I thought as part of the governor's order, he suspended certain elements of the Brown Act so that we
Yes.
could meet.
We can teleconference now,
Oh, really?
Mhm.
if we needed to.
Label the teleconference.
Really?
And
And
people
you know-
could put in their public comments through via
Really?
Yeah,
phone calls or however else, yes, it's all been
So
suspended.
Can we do
We
that
did-
for next week?
I should say we did publicly notice this meeting.
Correct.
It's been on our webpage, it was put online, it's posted at every school site. So, I mean, people are just,
Well,
they have
yeah.
a lot going on in their lives.
I had to do that
Right.
accounting
There is-
meeting yesterday though, if we could please make an effort to meet in person, cause I can't handle that.
It was hard. I was on the phone, FYI. I found out about that meeting very last minute, so what I would ask from all of you, although some of you did tell me, but I think we're a team. So if something like that happens again, when there's an emergency county meeting, let's let each other know.
Okay. Is there any more discussion on the resolution itself? Okay, so with that in mind, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. You have future agenda items on there, and I think for special meetings, we're allowed to
do that, yeah.
do that. 'Cause
We have an agenda, we have a meeting coming up on the 24th, so we'll forego that.
That's just next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's next week.
So that's my question,
Cancel.
are we gonna do the option of teleconference if we need to? Let's just say, for some reason, one of us can't be here in person.
Our bylaws already provide for.
Right, but you have to do the noticing and all that.
What
On
I'll
the
need to know
agenda.
is, what I'll need to know is your location, where you'll be calling in from, and we'll need
Just
to
in
post publicly outside that location that the meeting's taking place.
Right, just in case if like,
I would need to know by this Thursday where you would be.
Alright.
And we would coordinate that.
But you said the 24th at this point is canceled.
The
No.
24th is on.
Is on the
Oh.
future agenda item.
Oh,
We're
so
not going to
sorry.
do the
I'm
future
so
agenda.
sorry.
But if
Okay,
you
I'm like,
If any board member
Sorry.
wanted to call in for that meeting as opposed to be here physically, you would simply need to notice me by this Thursday. You have to tell me the address of where you would be calling in.
now, what
otherwise
about,
we would not be
Able to do
able
that.
to join the
Yeah.
meeting.
what about the public, can they call in?
Absolutely.
So how do we do that, how do we set that up? Yes.
Teleconference, we set up, it's the
The phone number?
same kind of system we used yesterday at the
Okay, and then you set up, a limited amount of chairs?
10?
You can't do more
I
than
see.
10.
Yeah,
No more than 10 people, right?
And
Right.
we're 6 right here.
So.
Plus your administrator?
The president
Yeah, I
was no
I think it's
more
members
than
of the
10.
public. Because there, I noticed Jaime was counting people in the moment, 20 non-elected officials were there.
Oh.
That's when they had people stand at the door, so. Okay.
We'll make sure that if we have a reporter come in, if we have, that we're able to
Accommodate what
accommodate those folks. The other thing is, my administrative team won't be at our next meeting.
I wouldn't want them to be here.
Yeah.
No use to expose them.
Okay,
They're
so,
doing enough already.
Yeah, they-
no, any other, well, we can't really do announcements.
Unless they have to be here to present, you know, but then if they have to come in to present, then they, you know, they could cycle in, but other than that, let's just, if they don't have to be here to present, they should not be here.
I just, before we close down the meeting, and I think I'm speaking for all of us, I know I am. I have never been prouder to say that I'm associated with this school district that has been part of my life since 1990. And the leadership that you have given and the team that has been supporting, I mean, all the players from the classified staff to the certificated staff to administration.
Everybody's stepping up.
Everyone has stepped up, everyone. And
And the parents?
the the parents, everybody. I mean, I'm getting chills here.
I know,
Welling
you give
up.
me goosebumps.
I just, we have a wonderful community, we have a wonderful city, wonderful county, and I am just so proud to be affiliated with this school district. And I just, it's wonderful, very, very good.
Good, good.
A motion for adjournment?
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn
I move that we adjourn this special trustee meeting.
at 5:03 PM.
I said,
Oh,
Carla?
second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Let's go.
Okay.
No, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
And I
So when
actually
I was
always
all,
call.
when I was all messy.
You were good.